In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn wall cabinets into base cabinets. And we're going to do it right now. If you follow my channel at all, you'll know that I've been working on building a pantry in my house. It's all framed in and I finished the drywall. And before I paint, I want to install these cabinets. And this is about a 4-foot wide by 6-foot long pantry. So what I decided to do was install wall cabinets as base cabinets. And really that's the only reason, is to save on space. Wall cabinets are 12 inches from front to back, and a base cabinet is double that, about 24 inches. So obviously that wouldn't work in here. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn these from wall cabinets into base cabinets. And the first thing I did was laid them all out to make sure that they're going to fit, and so I can get an idea of exactly what I'm going to do. So the original design of this pantry, and the reason I built it just over 4 foot this way, is because I was just going to do two 24-inch cabinets over here. But that design changed, and that happens. So what I'm going to do now is this L shape. I think it's going to be nice and clean, and I'm going to try and match it with whatever shelving I do above here. Open shelving to have plenty of space for overstock. And in case you're wondering, the brand of these cabinets are GHI, and the color is Arcadia White. One feature I like about these cabinets is, like with this bigger cabinet, there's no center frame piece, which is called a stile. So there's nothing there, nice and wide open. This is a 33-inch cabinet, shaker style. And right here, I didn't do a regular corner cabinet because I didn't want it to come out as far. And I like the look of this. So I got a 27-inch blind corner. And all that means is you can see hole right here. This door is extended this way. And then you can put stuff back here instead of having a small cabinet or starting a cabinet here and losing all that space. And then right here, 24-inch cabinet and 24-inch cabinet. And then I have a gap right here. That's about where I want it, so that when I open this door, it doesn't interfere with the trim. And that's the same reason that I have gaps, or a gap right here. I'm going to center it between this cabinet and the wall over here evenly. So that's what I wanted to do, is put them all in here, make sure they're good, get an idea of what I'm going to do. And I had a little help designing this, where I picked up the cabinets, they had a design software, put the measurements in, and came up with this. And I like it. So now that I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these cabinets out because I have some prep work to do before we actually install them. Eventually I am replacing this carpet with new flooring, but for now I'm going to leave it just so we have something here. But I am going to cut underneath the cabinets, and this company sent me this tool for free, so thank you for that. And I wish I had this a long time ago because it cuts carpet so easy. Easy as that. Easier than a knife. Also get all these staples out of here. Besides the depth of the base cabinet being 24 inches compared to 12 inches, the other difference is this right here, the toe kick. So what I'm going to do is recreate this and just measure right here, and it looks like just about 3 7/8. So from the finished floor to the bottom of the cabinet, we're going to go 3 7/8. And we'll worry about the depth later, but right now, that's all we care about. We got 4 inches over here, and then a couple other places, so let's go 4 inches. And obviously, if you're trying to match the height of existing cabinets, that is the most important measurement, is from the finished floor up to the top of the cabinet. Make sure that you find the top of the cabinet, because sometimes the countertop can have a lip on it and it'll hide that. So get that measurement, figure out what you're doing for your countertop and where that is going to put that with your existing countertop, and then you'll be able to tell what you need to add to the toe kick. And keep in mind that wall cabinets come in different heights. So for me, I bought 30-inch cabinets, and when I add a toe kick, I'm going to be right around 36 inches, and since it's in a completely different location, I don't have to be exact. To simulate that toe kick area, what I'm going to do is get a 2x3 and do pretty much a ledger board against the wall here. Ideally, you would do your floor first and then do this stuff, but I have a lot of other stuff I need to do because I'm doing a floor throughout the entire first floor, so it's going to be a while. I'm going to take a measurement right here for my ledger, 75 and 5/8. Tried to get a nice straight board. I'm just checking my floor with a 4-foot level, and it looks pretty good. Looks like it might dip down on the left side a little tiny bit. That's fine. I'm going to measure in the center here. So I'll put my tape here in the center, and we're going to do 4 inches, but I'm going to add 3/4 because that's what my finished floor will be. So that's my mark right there. 2x3, you could set up a laser level, you could snap a line, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 screw in the center up to this line. There's a stud right here. I have my studs marked, and take a 3-inch construction screw. Make sure I'm on that line. The sides look pretty even. And get a screw in here. That looks good. It's on the line. Now I can put my 4-foot level back here and level this. That looks perfect. And I can put more screws in it. Just going to put 1 screw in each stud. Now I'll take a measurement for over here. Now for this piece, I will put a 2-foot level on here. The top even over here. Make sure I'm level. Now in the center, I'm going to use a 2.5-inch long screw because I have a pocket door in here, and I don't want to go into that bay with a long screw. Damage my door. And I'm going to keep that in mind when I install the cabinets too. So now right here we can get the depth. This might not be the best place because of this gap, but we'll check it out. 3.5 inches, and you can see this right here, that's a toe kick. So we're going to want to keep that in mind because we do have a toe kick going on these cabinets too. But right here, and I'll take a couple more measurements, it looks like 3.5 inches is the recess that we want. Yep, 3.5, 3.5. So right here, I just wanted to look at the toe kick that came with this, and we can see it is 5/8 of an inch thick. Some are 3/4, some are 1/4. This is nice. 5/8. So I'll keep that in mind, subtract that from what we need, and just double check. 4.5 inches. What I'm going to do is do the flooring up to the framing, and then after the flooring's done, I'll put this toe kick in. So 4.5 inches. Might have to just rip it. That's fine. Well, that's going to work. And just to double check the cabinets, they are exactly 12 inches wide. So from the wall here, we'll do 12 inches, and then we want it recessed 3.5 inches. So that is going to be my toe kick, and my toe kick is 5/8 of an inch. So I actually want my framing to be right here on this line, and if it goes this way or that way 1/8 of an inch or so, that's totally fine. I measured that over there. It's 7 3/4. I'll make a line right here. Framing goes back here. And then I'll do one right here. 7 3/4. And over here. I'll just take my 4-foot level for this side, put it on my marks, mark it. Now I'm going to put a nail right here on that line. Take a chalk line and snap-a-lappa. Always snap-a-lappa. There are a bunch of different ways that I could do this. My main goal here is to just have something for the toe kick to attach to. So typically what I do is I grab a 2x6 and I just rip it whatever I need. So pretend this is a 2x6, hold it up here, just rip it so that it's even here and level. But I don't have a 2x6. So here's what I'm thinking, and I think this might actually work out better. If I attach 2x4 like this, and then put it right here, even if I have to rip this top one, that way I can attach it right here down to the floor instead of going at an angle and potentially bowing this out. You do want to have some support under the front of these cabinets, especially if you're doing a heavy countertop like granite or quartz or whatever you're doing. I will be able to put shims in on top of this, and even if I keep it like 1/8 of an inch less, then I'll be able to shim it. Because this floor is not perfect, it just so happens to go from 4 3/4 to 5 inches and then 5 inches over here. So I can put this in without even cutting it right here, and then for this piece, I'll just rip this top 2x4 just to get under and make sure I'm good and I'm not pushing the cabinets up. So before I attach this together, I'm just going to double check, make sure we're good. And actually, it looks like we are higher. And I want to be sure to be lower and not higher. So I am going to have to take a little bit off of this. I'll just take about 1/8 inch off. Now we can check that. Should be perfect. It's lower. It's lower. Cool. Perfect. Another option is you could shim it right now to make it perfect, but I'm not going to do that. Make sure I'm on the line. Then we can attach to the floor. And I'll do this side. Now I can double check this one. Check it with my level. It's looking pretty good. Check it in a couple spots. Make sure I push this down. It's going to be screwed down. That's perfect. Over here. Relax, Coda. That's good. Go about every 16 inches. Don't pinch your fingies. Save the phalanges. Got it on the line. Again, you can shim under here if you want, get it perfect where you want it. But I want to hold it down, make sure it's straight up and down, and get a screw in it. Now that will hold both of these together. Get this one on the line. This one, that blows in a little bit. So, using the power of leverage, pry that a little bit, like that. And now, just so this doesn't end up moving around, or if the wood ends up bowing, I'll just put a piece in here, put it in at an angle because going into end grain doesn't really work that well. I'll do one over here too. Yeah, to tell you the truth, I think this is a little overkill, but better overkill than underkill. Frame's all set. And before I forget, these cabinets are 30 inches tall. So I'm gonna make a mark at about 30 and a half right here. Just a couple of them. I could also snap a line, but I want to mark the studs so I know when I put the cabinets there where the studs are. I'm gonna be attaching all of these face frames, so I'm gonna take these doors off. I'm gonna take them off from here, but another thing you could do is to take off the hinge from here, and if you wanna get real fancy, you can actually try and hide your screws in the face frame to whatever you're attaching to. But I'm not gonna do that. I have some white-headed screws, and usually I like to do 1, 2, 3 screws. Don't lose the screws. One. With this one, I actually have to lower this door, so I will take the hinges off from here. Just one screw. I'm also going to take these shelves out. Just don't want them to get in my way. So this cabinet is going to be something like that. And because this is a blind corner, you're going to have this space here, and you'll have this right here where stuff could potentially fall out of here as you're putting it on the shelves. So this does come with a piece of 1/8 inch plywood. So you can rip this down and either attach it from the outside like this, just to block that off, or from the inside, but then you have these right here that you'll have to navigate around. So it'd probably be just as easy to do it here, but I'm not gonna do it because I already know that we're putting bigger stuff in here. We're not gonna load it up with a bunch of small stuff. And since it's gonna be like that, you could potentially hide some stuff in here. But don't do that if you're making a video about it and telling everybody. But anyways, I'm not filling that in. Now we're gonna put this cabinet aside. I wanna do this long row of cabinets first. So I'm just gonna grab them, sit them up on our framing. Motion activated lights. Pretty cool, huh? Now before I go screwing these to the wall, what I wanna do is attach all these face frames. I'm gonna hold this one as tight as I can to this wall so I can have that space between the trim over here. And then I got some clamps, so I'm gonna hold this so it's even at the top, and then tighten this, make sure it's flush right here, and then you can see down at the bottom, that is not flush. I think with this one I might have to get a screw in here, and then get a screw in the middle, and then do the bottom. Obviously don't want to put these where you're intending to put the screws. If you have to, you can put some masking tape on your hammer and give it a little tap just to get it into place, or use a rubber hammer, a mallet. You just have to tap this down, make it even, make sure this is flush, and from the inside, those two look good. Top is flush. This is flush, this is flush. Let's put some screws in it. These are the screws that I always use, GRK cabinet screws. For the face frames, 2.5 inches is gonna work. This is a 2.5 inch, and it's gonna go in just like that. If I had to put a screw on this side, I would do the white, but I'm gonna do it on this side so that it is hidden when you look in this way. So I'm gonna take a drill bit that is slightly smaller than the screw, and I'm gonna pre-drill in from here. Go nice and straight this way and this way. You can see I'm just cleaning out the hole as I drill that carefully. Don't want to slip. And I can sink it in just a little bit. Just try and get this tight. Good. I'm going to do that same thing in the middle. If I have to adjust, I can. I think I might have to put 4 screws in here because this is so off. Before I sink that in all the way, I'm just going to take this clamp and move it up closer to that screw and tighten that so I can get those face frames nice and tight. Take this one off at this point. And right down at the bottom. So we'll get it tight right here. Now, these 2 cabinets are attached together and the face frame is nice and flush. I'm going to do the same thing with this cabinet. And this one I will do white head screw. Why not? I got them. I just broke that bit. These whitehead screws are giving me a little trouble, so I'm gonna just step up the drill bit 1 size. I don't wanna break a screw like I broke the tip up here. And I don't wanna split the face frame, that's for sure. I'll take this clamp off and transfer it. So now with the face frames attached, I can just check, see what I'm dealing with, make sure when I install these, it's going to be level and plumb. So make sure the bottom's all the way back there. Then when I put it up against the wall, that's level. That looks good. That looks good too. Okay, so if you did have to bring it up or down, it's obviously not going to be easy to get shims in there. You can take this out, put shims in there, or you can just hold it up and shim the front. But that's totally up to you. So I know that this is going to be level when I attach it. And I'm going to do the same thing going this way. Push it back, check in a couple spots. So I got to shim it. Once I push it back, looks like I got to drop it down a little bit. It's actually perfect where it's sitting. I'll put a shim in here to start, right on that stud. As I said, it was good, so I'm just gonna let it kind of fall in there and then just go a little bit more so that way when I suck the screw in, it should be good. We're gonna make sure this is tight this way as much as we can. It's okay if there's a gap here against the wall. Make sure that shim doesn't fall. All right, so if you take a look in the cabinet, you're gonna want to put your screws in right here if your design is like this, right where the stud is. Good. We're just gonna quadruple check all the different ways, making sure the bottom's tight, and then wherever it is, we put a shim perfect on the front. Remember, we can shim the front. That's perfect on the back. We also want to make sure that if the wall is bowed at all, that we're not bowing with the wall. So a good way to check that is to measure these gaps. If you measure in the front, 1/2 inch, and then you go to the back, 1/2 inch. That's telling me that the cabinets are good and they're not going with the wall if it was bowed. Same over here. For some reason, This gap is almost 5/8. It's just the way it's built. That's almost 5/8 too. Nice. So I can see my stud right here. So I'm gonna put one on the bottom here first. You got the same kind of rail. Put my shim right in the middle of that. This is telling me this has to go down, but it's perfect right there. Sometimes you gotta pick your poison. Just go a little bit. One more time, just make sure it's plumb, level, and square. And solid. Now for this 33-inch cabinet, I'm going to measure right here and find the center. 18 and an eighth, and double check. 18 and an eighth. Then on the cabinet itself, find center here. Check. Perfect. And I'm just gonna put that in place. I'm not gonna install it yet. Might be a tight squeeze. Ooh-wee. Put it on my center line. And all I'm gonna do is kind of check just to make sure we're close here. So that's gonna have to go down a little bit. And more importantly, I'm gonna check it this way. That's gonna be good. I know I have to drop it down, but that's good too. And I just want to take a measurement for my filler here because I want to attach that first instead of trying to fill it in afterwards, at least on this side. On the other side, we can throw that one in afterwards. This doesn't need to be perfect, but we'll try and make it as perfect as possible. 5/8, inch and 5/8. So I got to rip a filler at inch and 5/8. Now here's my filler, and I'm gonna run some painter's tape, and hopefully that will help to make sure the finish doesn't chip up when I run it through the table saw. Lower that blade just to the top. That will help as well. That's gonna work. Now we take the cabinet out. Take my tape off carefully. That's not bad. I'll put the cut towards the other cabinet. Hopefully that'll suck right in. Okay, put clamps on it. I just had to lower this clamp to make sure the drill fit in here. I'm gonna go from this side because I don't want to put screws here because the heads might hold this out if I can't sink them in. I'll do white-headed screws on this side. Pre-drill. In the middle. Carefully put this back in place. So I'm hoping that when I put this level, it's going to drop down and be nice and even. Let's see. Oh yeah, perfect. Perfect. Before I attach it, I'm going to put it where it needs to be, right here. Take a pencil, mark just like this. Then I can take this out again. Now I'm going to take another filler, get this close to that line, as close as I can, because it's bowed, and mark the back side. Now I can mark the center of this, and as long as I can get a drill back here, I can get screws in from back this way, but this is going to tell me exactly where that cabinet's going. So I'll do 3 right in the center, down here, and then I'll drill through this way. Now I can get this pencil mark off, front side here, clean it afterwards. Now we put the cabinet back in. Again, make sure we're back in the correct location, and we can clamp it. Can't really get a clamp at the bottom should be fine. I just want to triple check this. It's perfect. And even if it has to go up, we'll be okay. That looks pretty good too. Good. Now I can take my drill, find those holes. I'm going to be doing this blind, quote unquote. Drill, nice and straight, just a little bit. That's one. And then I'll do some 2-inch screws. And the bottom. Go up just slightly, so I'm going to shim the bottom. Tap that in till that's level. And same thing, just make sure it's level, plumb, square. Now we can attach it. I can take this clamp off at this point. So I did build this pantry, so I'm pretty sure I did it square, but you might want to check this just to make sure if you're off, and adjust accordingly. This is perfect. So unfortunately, the only other stud I could get into right here is next to this outlet. I do have one in the corner. My original design I could have got in there, but now that I changed it, that's gonna be the stud. That's fine. And now we can do this filler, but I gotta sand out my patch first. And this one will be a little more tricky because I do want it tight, so getting it in there might be a little tricky. So 1 5/8, a little strong, little strong. Yeah, this wall's not plumb, so this of course looks like I'm gonna have to rip it by hand because that's 1 3/4 and 1 5/8. I don't want to, but that's what I gotta do. 1 3/4, 1 5/8. What I'm going to do is take a brand new utility blade and just slice right along here. I'm just going to score this, and that should definitely help. That'll just cut that finish so it doesn't chip out. That looks a lot better. Okay, now we can try and just feed this in, cut side towards the wall, because I am going to be caulking this in when I paint. I might have to put it in at an angle. Little tap. I'm not going to be able to get clamps on this, and that's okay. Put the screws in. I've put the door back on here to show you an option of what you could do here. You could also put another filler like this, depending on the look you want. This might be a cleaner look. That's what I did at my old house, and before I put the filler in, I actually attached this filler to this filler from the back, so you didn't have anything going from the front. I actually might put this in afterwards with a couple pin nails and some glue, and then fill it in, because I do have a wax filler stick for this, but I'm not sure what I want to do. I don't mind that look, and I don't mind that look. I'm gonna ask the wife. Now I'm gonna do this filler the same way. Perfect. There's a gap right here. Not gonna hit the shim. Avoid stuff like this. You don't want to mess that up. That attaches the face frame. Now that you've installed all your cabinets. I'm just gonna shim the front of these cabinets. This one is tight, this one is not. And while I'm in here, I'll just cut it right away. I'm gonna adjust these doors. Try and make them all the same before I install this door. Yeah, yeah. Now that I adjusted the doors, I should be able to put this one on and get it close where I want it here, and then I can adjust it. So it looks like it dropped down about a ½ inch. If you needed to know how to turn wall cabinets into base cabinets, I hope the video helps. And if you want to see a ton more home repair videos from me, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Oh my God, we got it. Oh my God. Does it matter? Do I need to get into that? That's it, I just wanted a one-liner. Oh, yeah, where are we going? Yep. We're dancing. I'm sure you could cut to save battery. Now I can take a measure. Take a measure. Or marble, or what's the other one?
Quartz.
Cut that knot right out of there. Better not mess me up. Mother trucker, that hurt like a butt cheek on a stick. This is a little messed up. Quite all right, I'll fix it. Looks a little ugly, but it'll work. I don't think that's, no, I'm not saying, I don't think that's going anywhere. Well, that's not going anywhere. These ones are a little tricky. This is like the stair thing all over again, remember?
Sorry.
It's telling me that the cabinets are good that way and they're not f***ed up. Let's see if I can get it in an angle. I can get it, but I totally missed. Oops. It could go there. Of existing cabinets. Cabinet, the countertop. Existing cabinet. Existing cabinet. Oh my God. Some existing cabinets. This one I'm gonna skip. The head's messed up. So why am I using it? And I can hopefully clean that. It's not coming off. You can Jed clamp it. Ooh, don't go. Please don't. Oh, I'm begging you to stay. Hey, hey, hey. Okay. I consider this a challenge. Ah. Okay, I'll take it out and redo it. Luckily I had extra fillers. Maybe they didn't mean to give me this one. Really hard to tell on camera, but they are definitely different colors. This side looks better. It's almost like they didn't do enough of the color. I changed my mind. That tape was making it hard to see. Hey, I'll get this eventually. B-roll, a little loose. I just had it shoopy-doopied. I can't see.
I can.
Oh, these are different heights. I gotta go home. That didn't work. This is the shot, Lauren. Are you ready? Thank goodness for this tool. Thank goodness for Chef Boyardee.
Ah, did you install cabinets today? It's really dusty. Like product everywhere in the cabinet.
Please fit. I don't think that's going anywhere. Whoa, hello. And here's where we'll put the end screen with some videos that you might want to watch next. Some other home repair videos. It's up to you, or you can subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.